Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be talking about some new updates that just came in for the Tau Empire. As always, I like to talk about the Tau and Warhammer in general, but primarily the Tau Empire. But yeah, today we have the new datasheet for the Twin Lance that was revealed back in October of 2025. So, you got a little lore blurb. They are the new Mont'ka Supremes, similar to what Farsight was, and now they've taken over. So let's just get right into it. Let's go look over at their data sheet. I know they have like a little special name. They're like Shazri, Lokai, and Lantar. I have a feeling that they are that they aren't necessarily. I wonder if you can see that. Well, let's see. Trying to make sure. Yeah, it looks okay. I'm probably not amazing. Can't really tell if you can see that well, but it is what it is. So they're the Relentar Relokai, otherwise known as they have like a special name. They are, I think it's like Shatter Spear and something else, but is what it is. There's like a new, we don't know if it's a special classification or rank or if that's just their name. So let's stop mulling about. So we're gonna get off 10-inch move. They're pretty quick. T6, better than a Cold Star and an Enforcer. They're only T5. 2 up save, 4 up invulnerable. That's huge. And they're 8 wounds, 6 leadership, and 2 OC. So there's 4 objective control. They are 16 wounds in total, and they are effectively a custodian guard squad. So just the durability wise, they have deep strike. Doesn't really matter. They got scout state. That's what you're actually going to be scouting for. They can get marker lights, but they are ballistic skill 2 on pretty much everything other than their gun drones, so they don't really matter. Exemplars of the Mont'ka. Each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack that targets the closest edgeable target, that attack has sustained hits 1 and ignores cover abilities. So they're not as good in Kalyun, obviously, because they already have built-in sustained and they ignore cover. But if with your 18-inch range that you're going to be moving around with, you might be able to get some decent targets to be able to touch people with sustained hits 1 and ignores cover automatically or without innately. Neocapacitor shields. At the start of your opponent's charge phase, you can select 1 enemy unit, excluding monster and vehicle units, within 12 of this unit. This unit must take a battle shock test, and until the end of the turn, subtract 1 from the charge rolls made for that unit. So, mounted and infantry are going to struggle into getting into contact with you guys. Probably not. Most of the time, you're not doing long bomb charges. Basically, if you're within 12 and you're at 11, you're getting a 12-inch charge, or say you're 11.9 inch, 11.11 inches away. Theoretically, you can't charge. So if you're at the precipice, anything more than 11 inches away, you can't theoretically charge, or like 11 and 0.1 or something like that. And then retro thrusters, this is the big deal. At the end of the fight phase, this unit can either make a normal move up to 6 or a fallback move. Fallback move just means if they're in combat, they'll just fall back and make a normal move of 6. So and that doesn't specify your opponent, specifies a fight phase. So they're just going to be moving around similar to like a jump, shoot, jump, or the old Nova Reactor rule from the Riptides that we had back in 9th, where they get Nova Reactor and they get like free movement in the charge and fight phase. They get 2 gun drones, I believe, because that's what comes in the kit. Yeah, one gun drone each. I don't know why they don't get 2 drones each, but it is what it is. Let's get into the actual weapons. They have a beefy Melta. They have the Fusion Eliminator. It's like the Fusion Eradicator on the Ghost Keel. I think the Ghost Keel is a little longer. Let's see. From what I've been seeing, I think they're just basically mini Ghost Keels. So we'll just go back and we'll double check that. They got the Ion Scatter Cannon, which is just the Cyclic Ion Raker little brother with an extra pip of AP. They get Hazardous and Rapid Fire too. So if you're within 9, you get 6 shots. That's okay. Because these guys are character units and stuff like that. taking damage on these dudes, especially from hazards, probably isn't the best idea. But if you got to hit that breakpoint, got to hit that breakpoint. You got the Shard Storm burst system, so they get D6 to 5. So basically, just pulse rifles or pulse rifle shots. 18-inch range, actually carbine shots. D6, so that's a 2 D6 shots of just some burst cannon fire, basically. And then you get the twin blasters, which are from the gun drones. They don't matter. And then you get the XV pulse pistols, which are 4 shots, rapid fire 2, and they get 2 shots each. 4 if you're within 6, 6, 1, 2. That's good. And you remember, because they're vehicles, you can shoot all of them. So you get 1 fusion eliminator, that's on Rely, and then you have the ion scattergun, and that is on our Lantar, right? Yeah. The scatter cannon, Loci, Lantar has a fusion eliminator. They got decent shooting. It's about, without the tertiary, like without the burst system, the twin pulse, and the XV pulse pistols, they're effectively just 1 ghost kill. Yep, cyclic. Fusion Collider is range 18, not so they have a slightly weaker Fusion Collider built in, and they get a choice between the Ion Raker, which the Ion Raker is significantly better, just 1 less AP because there's 36-inch range instead of 18. Obviously, they get 1 Fusion Blaster shot instead of 2 Fusion shots, but the Strength 9 instead of Strength 10, and so forth. And you have the Ghost Kill Fists. The real thing about these guys is that their T6 Ghost Kill is T8 2+, no invuln, but they do 0 out 2 damage every game, and then they get the fallback and they lose smoke keywords. It doesn't really matter. So comparatively, they're weaker Ghost Kill durability wise, but damage wise, they're doing about the same. The big thing is that they have 4 strength 6 AP1 2 damage attacks hitting on 3s, which is practically unheard of for Tau. They have big guns never tire, but their retro thrusters basically invalidate that. You're never going to be in combat on your shooting phase with these guys, because if you are, you're kind of stupid. um, if you kill the thing you charge, you just get a free 6-inch. You basically can consolidate 9 inches towards something at the end of the fight phase, which probably is likely if you're targeting chaff. If you're targeting like a vehicle, you might struggle a bit because there are no real melee benefits for Tau. So it's just flat 8 attacks, hitting on 3s, 6, 1, 2, which is pretty good into like most chaff targets. But like the second you start trying to like target Victrix or Custodes, they just kind of laugh at that. It's like, okay, well, I'm just going to pick up your guy. And these guys are not going to be cheap, unfortunately. The big deal is the three ion scatter cannon shots, extra attacks. They get a strength 7/2/2. That's okay, just adding that. So basically, you're just adding these small ones, and you get like a big fusion eliminator attack. It doesn't have Melta, but it has a built-in for their damage, so that's cool. The 1 attack for 50/50 shot to like cripple a light vehicle in melee is pretty nice, I suppose, but it's not super duper amazing in comparative to like a Catan Shard or anything like that, and they're going to be priced the same as a Catan Shard from what I've been thinking to myself. So they're cool. They're cool little guys. I like the suits. They're going to look nice in my color scheme. But yeah, we're going to be getting some more stuff coming. But yeah, that's what they do. Now let's talk about why if they're good or not. And to be honest, I'm kind of on they're not too good. And not when I say that, I don't mean they suck. I say that as they're going to cost too much for what we get for them. These things are going to cost. These 2 guys are going to cost more than a Riptide. And at that point in time, you're thinking to yourself, well, they're good. What benefits do they get for costing more than a Riptide? Well, their best detachment, because if for what I feel is that we want more durability in our lists at all times. So what we're looking at here is going to be, you're going to have your automated repair drones, which is going to be an experimental weapons cadre, and they are going to give D3+1 wounds whenever at this in the command phase at the start of your turn. And it doesn't actually say command phase. It just says command phase, not whose command phase. So you can get D3+1 wounds back every turn. We go down. Reactive dampeners is probably the main one. -1 to wound. It's huge. Only on battlesuits. might be better on your Riptides because those are the ones that actually matter when you're getting big shots. So this will actually work pretty well. Other than that, everything else is just damage multipliers. And unfortunately, damage multipliers, we don't really need that because Riptides just do most of our damage anyways. Now, there are some lists that I'm going to like kind of talk about in a second that kind of don't need Riptides because they just decided to forego them. But you're looking at stuff like this where it's like, okay, what's in Mont'ka? You know, Mont'ka, you get -1 damage for 2 command points. Well, they have no way to generate command points, so they're just kind of beat sticks. And there's nothing wrong with beat sticks or anything like that, or they just have a big beefy stat line, but they're 240 points. Like they're going to be 220 or 240. I doubt. The way I'm thinking is that it should probably be in the range of like a 160 to 200 points. Probably settle at 180 because they're effectively their damage output and range is a ghost kill, and their durability is kind of weaker than a ghost kill because ghost kills are toughness 8 with the 2+ save and the zero out damage, where these guys won't zero out damage. So like say you're doing like a Sunforge squad with a commander, they're effectively going to be the same points cost and they're going to put out the similar damage output. They just won't have that melee output that these guys are going to have, which is kind of the important deal. But yeah, so you're going to throw them in Mont'ka, right? Obviously they're going to get lethal hits the first 3 turns, like everything in Mont'ka. I don't think you're going to take them in any other detachment. You might, I could see Ret Cadre, but it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, you got to be within 9. So, well, you get +1 AP. You're going to be AP 4 and 5 on your weapons, and then AP 2 on your little guns, which is nice, but you're within 9 inches. You're going to be charging anyways. So it's like, okay, it's good. You're going to get some more plink shots, and the charge is going to do the rest. And it's unfortunately, it's only ranged attacks on Ret Cadre. If it was just whenever your target makes an attack within 12, within 9, Ret Cadre would be so much better for battlesuits because that means you're getting benefits in melee, but you're not getting that like Farsight does, where Farsight buffs the battlesuits he's with. So let's look at the Ghost Keel. So Ghost Keel is 160 points. And this is why I'm kind of saying these guys are going to cost 240. And at that point in time, it's like, well, are they better than a Ghost Keel? Well, they're going to have 16 wounds with a 2-up, 4-up. And they're going to have 4 more wounds. They're going to have a 4-up invulnerable. And they're going to have the same move, but they're T6. So pretty much everything in the game is going to wound them on 4s. They don't have Lone Op. They have Scout, though, and they don't have the minus to hit that Ghost Kills have. So Ghost Kills are just going to be inherently stronger. Excuse me, not stronger, but more durable. And that's kind of what we need is durability in our vehicles as Tau players rather than damage, because we don't really care about the damage output because all of our stuff already does high amounts of damage anyways. So having basically a shorter range cyclic Iron Raker with a fusion blaster and then some tertiary shooting is nice and all, but you're split firing, and you have to get it, you don't want to use you don't want to guide for these guys because they already have built-in effectively guide in all their weapons outside of their my God, I'm yawning. Outside of their pulse blasters, excuse me, outside of their drones shooting 4 times. Nothing else really matters because they're all hit on 2s anyways, and they have ignore covers and sustained. So the main thing is everything they have is sustained though. So they're 2 shots with their pulse pistols. You get a 6, you get an extra hit, stuff like that. But the main beef of their stuff is going to be, okay, maybe you roll a 6 on the fusion eliminator. So that's kind of where their damage output is. Just they already have really high damage output. So we don't really need more damage on them. We need more durability, similar to Victrix Honor Guard or Custodian Guard squads. And if we compare them comparatively, so Victory Guard squad, they have 18 wounds, 2-up, effect -1 to wound, and they have a surge move, and they're 220 points, and they do vastly more damage than anything in melee than they do. While they effectively do the same amount of melee damage they do in shooting and in melee, and they're going to cost more, right? And then if you kill one, like all you have to do is do 8 wounds, and you've effectively have the damage output of the unit. Where if you kill a Victrix Honor Guard squad, it's like, okay, you killed like 2 or 3 of them. There's still Marnius Calgar left. You know, Marnius Calgar is gonna be another 200 something points of just beat stick, right? So that's kind of the main thing where I'm saying, oh well, they're about as fast as a Ghost Keel. They're a little less durable than a Ghost Keel, I think, on a points cost. And I'm saying 240. There might be less if they're sub 200. Their auto includes. If they are more than that, I think it's going to be really hard to take them. Now, here's the next. This is why I'm saying they're going to be sub 200 because it makes sense. Because now we have a comparative unit, which is 15 wounds, 2 up, 4 up, 6-inch in the custodian. And again, the custodians do a lot more damage in melee, but they get like minus, they get +1 to rune roll whenever you're attacking. You can reroll wounds against objective markers, and then it can double shoot with Sentinel Storm and stuff like that, right? Once per battle. And then you get the katas, you get lethal hits or sustained hits. You get the karate and melee. But yeah, it isn't the precision. Yeah, so you get a couple presidium shields or whatever the hell they're called, and they're gonna have a couple more wounds than that, right? So what does, like, this is kind of what I'm saying is like, we're gonna have melee threats. It doesn't have fights first, so it's just gonna be targeted by things with fights first. Like if you charge something with fights first, you're just gonna lose the unit. And that's kind of the way. There's no fight on death. We have no fight on death for these guys. There's no fights first. We just gotta hope that, you know, you're not just keeping your fights first, you know, for the one melee unit we have. And that's kind of where the Krutox Rampager came in, where it's like, well, I could take 3 Krutox Rampagers and you can't kill them all. You know, you can't kill the three Krutox Rampager squads, 6-man's bricks and crew hunting pack. They'll just kill something and then die afterwards, but you know, they killed what they wanted. These guys, I think, are going to be more of a tar pit mid-board, where you scout them forward to the middle of the board, put them behind a wall, and you kind of have them step in and out of cover so they can't be shot. But again, it's only a 6-inch normal move, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong. It's just these guys are going to be big. You know, they're going to probably like a 60 mil base. They're about the size of a broadside. You know, probably. I don't know the exact height yet. That we don't see it, but they can't go through walls. They're small-ish comparatively to like a dreadnought or something, but they can't go through walls. They move 6 inches. Well, you only have to like toe out one of them to get all the shooting, I believe, because I'm pretty sure that you don't have to have everyone seeing line of sight, but if you need to get both of them out, that's even worse. They are gonna, like, you kind of do the 1-inch haha you can't touch me behind a ruin thing, but if these guys get charged by any melee threat, they're just dead. You know, like, I'm pretty sure, like, per points at 240 points, no matter what, a custodian guard squad is just going to kill you, right? It's what is that? That's 25 strength 7 AP 2 damage attacks. You know, you immediately go onto your invuln and you fail like any 4-ups. You fail 4-ups, you just effectively lost the squad, right? Same thing with Victrix Guard. I literally don't think you survive the Victrix Guard. Especially if you have like the honor, the Blade Master in there, where he gets precision and twin linked. You know, I'm pretty sure he gets character bonus. Does he get the character bonus? No, he's just a dude. Yeah, he doesn't actually get his ancient attacks that you would get like the command squad has, the company hero squad has. But yeah, I think they're going to struggle to find a place in most lists because it's hard because you're effectively going to be dropping a Riptide and then some to get these guys to fit, right? So you either take 3 Riptides or in a Ghost Keel, or you take 2 Riptides in a Ghost Keel and you're dropping like a Kroot squad. And it's like, well, realistically these guys are going to put out similar damage to a Riptide, but there's still 40 points more than one, and you're giving up 16 wounds worth of bring it down, and you're giving up assassinate. Mind you, Tau don't really take too many characters unless you're running like Ret Cadre. So assassinate's not super important, but it's 16 wounds of of Bring It Down. And if we go over here and we go to the Crisis team, where is it? This is going to cause. We go to the Sunforge. Sunforge. I'm going to let that load for a second so you don't get flashbang. So we go over here. 3 is 12, right? And then normally you get 12, and then you take 2 shield drones, so you only get to 14 instead of 15. You're already at the point where taking out one squad maxes out the value of Bring It Down in secondary. So it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, how are these guys going to function? They're just going to be midboard beat sticks that are kind of scared of any of the actual midboard beat sticks. Like, good luck fighting the Void Dragon with these guys, and they're going to be the same points cost as them, you know. Um, yeah. So let's look how they're gonna how like this is what kind of what I mean though. We go over here to the Pirate Cup with Durante Glistener Bazzini. He came 23rd, I think, in this list in the tournament, but we can still, this is kind of like the standard quote unquote Talus that I've been seeing that does just generally well. We have Mont'ka, obviously. It's the best attachment right now just because how fast you have to be in the current meta. You get Shadow Sun, 100 points, and then the Breacher Fish. So that is 175. So that's 275 points. You're effectively dropping this whole brick of these 3 data sheets just to take him, just to take the pair. Shadow Sun has a lot more. She benefits the whole army more than just being, hey, I'm going to sit in the center of the board, and the Breacher Fish is going to put out comparable damage output to them. So it's like, why do I want to take these guys at 240 points? Again, if they're not 240 points and they're like 180, yeah, I'm dropping my Breacher Fish for them. Like it's no contest. If they're 180 points, I'm putting them in every list, right? And I think there is a chance they're going to be like 180 points. And the reason I say that is because like the Wardens of Ultramar are 90 points. And the Wardens of Ultramar are ridiculous. So yeah, they definitely have that. And like you just can't fit it in. Like you can't drop any of these units here. You can't. You need 3 Riptides. Ghost Keel you could probably get away with not having. The Hammerhead and the Skyray probably don't need them 100% of the time. There are other ways to do this, but like you need to have 1 to 2 stealth teams. You need to have 2 to 3 Riptides, 0 to 2 ghost keels, and then the Hammerhead and Skyrays are just good. And then you need to have Pathfinders. They're the 3 like Pathfinder stealth suits, stealth suit tax, Riptides, and Pathfinders are your best units. Um, it's just one of those things where like I just don't know what you do to drop. And like if you take like this is a Mont'ka list. This guy came first place with the Cherokee Open. I will be talking about these lists in a more in-depth video, but just looking at it now, it's like, look how many characters this list has. It's obviously giving up Assassinate. Now imagine you just throw in 240 points of more characters that give up a shit ton to Bring It Down and Assassinate points. And it's like, oh, well, they're super durable until something touches them, you know? And I know they won't die to like basic ranged fire, but they can be targeted and they will be destroyed relatively easily by stuff that actually is meant to kill, like custodian guard squads. Like if your unit can consistently one shot a custodian guard squad, which is like kind of impossible, right? Like it'll normally like 2 Riptides can clean up an entire custodian guard squad in 1 round of shooting. So effectively, if you can put out 2 Riptides worth of ion cannon shots, you can consistently take out 200, like a quarter of, sorry, a eighth of your opponent's army in 1 round of shooting, which is kind of what we're looking at here. And it looks like we're just having, Jesus Christ. Yeah. So like, what do you do? Like, what do you drop? Like, do you drop one of your enforcers, for example, the Mont'ka, and you throw out one of these? So that's 120. That's still only 210 points. If there are 220 points, you don't have enough points. You have to drop something else. What do you drop? Like, oh well, you can drop one of those and then you get them in the mid board, so that might work a little better. You'd lose out. You only have 1 Riptide because you're effectively getting the Riptide value from these guys. So like you could make this work, right? You have Farsight, you know, and the Strike Swiftly Cold Star. If you drop them and you drop the Sunforge team with the Strike Swiftly's Cold Star, you might make it, you could fit them in. They effectively do the same amount of damage there. So that's 140, So that is 260. So if you drop that cold star that's scouting your entire army, and one of your Sunforge battle teams that does more anti-tank shooting than the pair, than the twice blade, you're kind of sitting there like, okay, so that's where this would list. Like, obviously, list isn't guaranteed to be the standard. This list from Durante Glinissier Bazzini. Well, from this list is more of your standard. This list is kind of out of a left field situation where, like, I wouldn't have taken. I haven't seen like a list like this outside of Red Cadre. But yeah, it's like, what do you do? He obviously, you took more ghost kills because ghost kills are just super, super durable. They're effectively Rogel Dorn, right? And the double piranhas for more like shenanigans, and you have to have at least one stealth team, right? And I think no Pathfinders. Oh no, one Pathfinder. And is he? Yeah, he's a recounter. So it's a you have to drop an entire crisis suit team, which will work. And if again, 240 points, probably too much. I feel like that's just too much. I think in this specific list, they'd probably work really well. Hyper aggressive, throw them in the midboard, and then you actually have something to charge in. They'd actually work well on this type of list with the crisis bomb, and you just lose one of your fusion blasters. But 240 is still a lot. It's still a lot because you're losing your strike swiftly, and you're like, oh well, let's just strike, and then it looks like you don't even have 2, 3. Yeah, you don't even have. You just have like a free fire knife squad on his own. You're not even putting a commander in there. You could put your strike swiftly in the firesight team. I believe strike swiftly is 30 points, right? Come on, up, 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 up. 25. So I don't think you'd have enough in this list to keep strike swiftly. You just lose it because that's 85 points for a cold star. No, 95 points for a cold star. So 95 plus 140 is 235. So you'd be 5 points short. If they're 220, it'd fit. But it's just one of those things where I think they're going to be good. I just don't think they're worth it in the current metagame. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm like horribly wrong. And I don't doubt that I'm incorrect on this. I think the movement they have is kind of nuts. It's just the stuff you have to do for them to work is like, oh well, what if we just have them float around the board in the midfield, kind of charging where, and taking something out, and it works. It will work. It will kill something. You might, and then you charge the wrong thing. Like these guys aren't going to be charging your Victrix guard. They're not going to be charging Custodian guard. They're not going to be charging Catan. They're going to be taking out chaff in the charge phase, and they might pop a, a light tank in melee. And it's like, well, because you just can't risk losing these guys, and their real durability is in range shooting. It's like, oh well, they have a 4-up invuln, and then you're just kind of you're just rolling hot. And so I don't really like about it because like riptides, they can't touch your riptides. Like if assault intercessors or sanguinary guard touch this unit, they're just gone, right? Like you just lose this. Like they will put 16, like 50 wounds into you, and you will die. Gilliman walks up and just smacks these guys, you're losing one of them, and because their stats aren't evenly spread. Like if they target custodians, right, and they do their 2 damage, and they fusion eradicate one, and the custodian rolls a 4, and you've only done like 3 wounds through, right? Custodian guards have you only killed 1 custodian guard. If you do 4 wounds through these guys at 2 damage, you've effectively have their melee output. Or if you do 4 wounds, 8 wounds to a custodian guard squad or a victory squad, you haven't have their melee output. You've killed 2 of them. There's still 3 more, and they're going to do just as much, and they're going to have fight on death, right? So it's just one of those things where it's like melee wise, they're good. It's like crew talks rampagers are good melee units, and they're going to put out comparable damage, and durability wise they might not be the same because they have that 5-up, but they are going to have the same like damage numbers being put out, because strength 6 AP 1/2 damage is literally the Krutox Rampager with Lance extra attacks. You know, um they have 6 of these, 170 for 6 of these guys, 655. Like they don't have the invulns. They do mortal wounds. Like they're going to do more melee damage and they're going to cost less. So it's like if you can fit them in there, you could probably fit Krutox Rampagers that do not the same amount of movement, but they're going to be able to just run up the board. And they have grenades. I don't believe these guys have grenades. No, they do not have grenades. So they're not doing mortals. They're only toughness 6. The tank shocks aren't going to work too well. Their main thing is they're going to poke out with 18-inch range in the midboard, and they're going to shoot something, and then they're going to run back behind cover, and then maybe you've wounded a Victrix Guard squad enough that you can charge them, and you think you won't die instantly. But I think it's just going to be one of those things where it's going to be good. I'm probably way underestimating it. I guarantee you when they release, there's gonna be a guy, and they're gonna be like 240 points. He's gonna throw them down, and they're gonna be unkillable. But that's just me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But I definitely think they're kind of probably above average. I don't think they're gonna fit into every list, but who knows? Maybe they will. So yeah, that'll be all. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.